Welcome to the Like a DOS podcast, where Ronnie Doss shares insights regarding life, leadership, and personal development. For more of our resources, visit ronniedoss.com. Now, let's join the podcast.
Hey there, it's Ronnie Doss. Welcome to the Like a DOS podcast. Today I want to talk to you about being frustrated, right? Like frustration is something that I think many people use as a diversion away from using the energy that they do have to take some action, to move into the unknown, take some risk, and do things that they've not done before. Like you can walk around frustrated, complaining about your life and talking about what's not working, and use that frustration or the idea that you are frustrated as enough, meaning that if you think the world's a bad place and you feel sorry for people, then that makes you a good person simply because you feel sorry for people. You can do the same thing with being frustrated. Well, I'm frustrated with an issue, so that's enough. That means the thing is the problem, when in fact, the thing might not be the problem at all. Your thinking is probably the problem. Your perspective is the problem, and your perspective is what's driving the frustration. So you can be frustrated with anything, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to take any action or do anything any differently. Because I can talk to people a lot, and I do. When I coach people, work with people sometimes, some people just stay in a perpetual place of not enough, not happy, complaint, frustrated, disappointed with their life in some way. And that's just where they stay. And I think that's a problem, because I think what we're doing is we think, well, if I get angry and frustrated with this, then that must mean that I am noble, and in some way I see what the problem is, and the problem is this other thing, versus the problem is my perspective on where I need to be putting my energy and my focus. Now, you might hear this and go, well, Ronnie, does that mean you're never supposed to be frustrated? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, never be frustrated. No, of course that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you can be frustrated, but don't stay there. Don't let that be your mojo. Like a lot of people want to go through their whole life frustrated, mad at the world, mad at their spouse, mad at their parents, mad at their kids, mad at the president, mad at God, mad at their community, mad at their workers, mad at their coworkers, their boss, whoever they are. They're always mad. Nobody's ever enough. Nobody meets people's standard, and so they just stay frustrated versus saying, okay, the way that this is the way that it is right now. Abraham Lincoln says, it is what it is, but it will become what we make it. And so just staying frustrated about something continues to put more energy into that thing, and typically what you resist, persist, what you push on is going to give you more back. So at the end of the day, if you're staying frustrated, it's probably not because of a thing, it's because of a choice that you keep making, thinking that frustration means in some way you're noble or that you're right. And the other part of it could be that you get frustrated and you get mad at yourself and you go, well, I shouldn't ever be frustrated. And then you start kicking your own butt, beating yourself down because you can't believe you're frustrated. And now you're in twice as bad a place as you were before because you're frustrated that you're frustrated. And so what do we need to do here? Well, the first thing you got to do is develop enough self-awareness to go, wait a minute, this frustration is simply a choice. It's not the thing. Like it's not my spouse that I'm frustrated about. It's not my parents. It's not my siblings. It's not my job that I'm frustrated about. What's frustrating is the perspective that I'm putting on it. So in the moment of shifting a perspective, I could lose the frustration, get back to neutral, and then decide what I want to create. And if I notice over time I keep creating the same result again and again, and that's what I would say is frustrating me, then obviously I need to make some real adjustments to my routine and to what it is that I'm putting my energy into, even aside from the perspective that may produce something better, something different. Like if you just keep staying stuck, at some point, stuck is a choice. And when I started recognizing that, I started looking at my life going, okay, well, where do I feel stuck? And have I been stuck in that place for a while? Then yes, then what do I need to do? Can I be frustrated? Sure, I'm going to get frustrated. That's natural. My mentor used to say you couldn't live in a flesh suit living on this planet and not get frustrated at times. However, staying frustrated is simply a choice. And so if you're mad, frustrated with somebody in your life, and you continually stay frustrated, maybe it's not them. Maybe it's your perspective that you won't let go of that has you burning all this creative energy that could create some solution to move past this stuckness with that person. Now you might say, well, Ronnie, you mean that if I am no longer frustrated with the person that they're going to change? Well, I don't know, but you staying frustrated with them obviously hadn't helped. So why don't you develop enough self-awareness to go, that's not working. This isn't working with my team. That's not working. Well, what could we do? Well, instead of being frustrated, step back from it for a moment, detach from it, right? And then what's said, elevate the thought or the picture of what possibly could be, and then adapt to that picture. And so unattach from the thing, the perspective, that the way you see it is the way it has to be. And then create a greater picture, something better, a better picture of it working. What would it look like if you and this person you were frustrated with were actually working together well? The communication was healthy. It was open. It was responsible. What would that look like? Like, hold that picture for a minute. And maybe it's that you don't have to be in relationship with this person that you're so frustrated with. I think some of the things that I see with people is that they feel because of maybe where they were born, the family they're born into, that they feel this need. They feel almost this obligation to be in relationship with the people that are around them that they would call family, or people that they would call acquaintances. Well, I have to be, in relationship with them. And that's not the case. One of the things that I've learned that liberated me is you can love people from a distance. You have to have healthy boundaries around you if you want to be healthy. And if you want to live a good life, like, that's not saying you alienate yourself from people, because a lot of times the challenges in relationships are this rub that polishes you into a better version. You've probably heard me say it before, that if you get offended with every rub, how can you ever expect to be polished? That's not my quote. I heard it years ago, but I don't know who it's from, so we'll just say it's my quote. But if you get offended every time somebody does something that you don't like, you'll never be polished. You've got to polish your perspectives. And so I'm not saying alienate yourself or run from the relationships that frustrate you, but at least check your perspective and say, what could I create here? What's possible? Because I can promise you there's a lot more possible than what you already think is possible for you. Like, there's a lot more possible in your business than what you've been telling yourself. And because you're tired, maybe you're frustrated, maybe you've been doing it the way that you've been doing it, and now you put all that energy in, things aren't changing, and you feel a little bit depleted. Chances are, from the depleted place, the tired place, the burned out place, you're not going to see lots of possibilities, right? Like, all you tend to see is what's right in front of you, and it feels overwhelming. And so if there's a challenge in the relationship, it's like that's all you can see. You're not seeing all the good things that could go on in the relationship. You're not seeing all the things that you could be grateful for. You're not noticing all that. Like, you're blind to those things. All you see is this thing you don't like, which has everything to do with your perspective. And when you lock onto that, like the race car driver who's in a spin out, they say, don't look at the wall. Because if you look at the wall, you're going to naturally pull towards the wall, and you wind up hitting the wall. And that's what we do, I think, sometimes with life. It's like we see something, and we lock onto it, and we pull towards it, and we get more and more and more of what we don't like. And so today, I'm just going to challenge you. Right? Look at your life and the things that you would say frustrate you, and ask yourself this question: is there another way that I can look at this? And if the answer is yes, because it typically always is, then do some work in creating a perspective that will help you to alleviate some of the frustration that you have. And instead of burning your energy being frustrated, because it's an energy burn, it is. It's just like the rocket. It burns so much of its fuel just getting off the launch pad. Like, we burn so much of our creative energy just being frustrated because we believe somewhere, some paradigm, some deep-rooted belief system, we believe that somewhere, if we stay frustrated, that justifies this rightness that we have of who it is that we are and how the world is and how we're in association to the world and the associations of us to the world, or what reality is. And so the more frustrated I am, the more rightness I have, the more that makes me a human, and the more I'm just who I am. And if you don't change that perspective and unattach from it and ask yourself these questions, could there be another perspective? Yes. Then what's the work you can do? How can you look at it differently and get creative? Now, you might say, Ronnie, I've done that before and it didn't work. Well, you tried it in that scenario, but you can now change the perspective that you have on what you're thinking about that you were just telling me. Well, I've done it before. Well, change your perspective on what you've done before. Like, you can shift perspective at any time, at any moment. Choice is organic. It is pure, right? It is uncorrupted choice. Now, decision has a lot to do with your past, but choice is in the present moment, the fork in the road, like left, right. Why? Just because you can move left or right. That is choice. And in any moment, you and I can choose. And I have learned in my life that that gives me power back, so that life's not beating me down to my knees because I'm carrying all this weight from the past and all these standards that I had on how things were supposed to be right and how people were supposed to be and behave and do to my standard. What I said was, wait a minute, I'm going to look at my perspective on a moment-to-moment basis. And when I get to a point where I feel really frustrated, I'm going to make a shift, because that frustration doesn't serve me. Yes, it can frustrate me to start making some change, but I'm not going to carry this frustration, stress my body out, and kill myself because I need to be right about something. It may not change other people, but shifting a perspective can free me up, and it can free you up. So today, do that work, right? Look at your job and say, is there some perspective I have that's causing me to not want to be there anymore and not be excited and grateful for the opportunity to have a job, to have money coming in? What is it about my family? Could I change my perspective on them that would cause me to be more loving and more compassionate? Is there a chance to do that today? Because you never know when it could be your last day. Trust me, that's the vein I'm on right now. You never know. You think you know, but you don't. And so there's some perspective there. What's the perspective on yourself that you could shift? Like you're seeing yourself, well, this is who I am and how I always do it. Could you shift that? Yes. Then do it and do some work. Taking some action on something maybe you haven't done before that's a little unfamiliar. It might feel crazy, but do it. Make the most of today, and your days will start to change, right? They will. The coastline doesn't change, but the winds are changing, and you can set your sail differently with a different perspective so that you can arrive somewhere better than you would have if you thought your sail was already set and you were just frustrated with the direction you were going. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this today. This is our podcast. We're going to start doing these. I don't know if it's going to be daily, right? That's a big commitment for me. I got a lot going, but I'm enjoying sharing these insights with you. I appreciate who you are. Check out our website. We got a new website. My team, oh my gosh, I got to say, just give props to my team. We got a new website. It looks so much better, so much stuff. So many of our resources are available there, ronniedoss.com. If you got anything out of this today and you want to support somebody with moving their life forward, I would challenge you to share this, do something with it. We appreciate you. I appreciate who you are, the difference that you're making. I look forward to talking to you again really soon. Take care.